As part of our Employee Appreciation Week, you're going to get the opportunity to watch The Wizard of Oz, one of my favorite movies. The original movie came out back in 1939, and no, I was not born then. So many people think the movie was actually colorized at a later date. But if you think about it, back in 1939, there were a few movies that were made in color, and this was one of them. They actually did parts in Kansas, lovely Kansas, in black and white. And then when Dorothy and her friends went over the rainbow, that was the section that was actually done in color. It was amazing. And if you think about it as you watch the movie, it tends to change how you're feeling as well. So really think about it as you watch and remember back to maybe when you first watched this movie and what you thought. So think about all the different characters. Who stands out for you? Is it Dorothy? Is it the wizard? Please don't tell me it's the flying monkeys. They frightened me to no end when I was a little child. But there are so many different people and different characters in the movie that really can bring stories back to us today here at Elements. Okay, so let's think about key characters. The four that really jump out to me are Dorothy, the Scarecrow, Tin Man, and the Cowardly Lion. We'll leave all those others for you to think about on your own. So those four became very good friends throughout the movie. And yet, if you think about it, they are four characters that really you would never dream would be able to work together. So how they were able to use their own strengths, even when they didn't believe they were strengths, to come together and make it to the Emerald City and kill the Wicked Witch. So the four characters that we want to think about, and we're talking about Dorothy, what does she want? She's dreaming of somewhere different, dreaming of that place somewhere over the rainbow. The Tin Man wants a heart, the Scarecrow some brains, and the Cowardly Lion courage. So when we really think about this, what does it mean to us? These four, again, are so different in so many ways, but if you put each aspect of those things that they're looking for and use that on a daily basis, you might be amazed at how it really applies to here at Elements. So Dorothy could not have ever gotten to that end without her friends. So reality, we don't work alone here at Elements. How do we move this organization forward? How do we help our members collectively? Probably more powerful if we do it that way than if we try to do it on our own. So there are some quotes that I want to read to you as I was researching and thinking about the movie. So the Scarecrow says, "If anyone treads on my toes or sticks a pin into me, it doesn't matter, for I can't feel it. But I do not want people to call me a fool." So, does that ever come to mind when sometimes you might think, well, I'm not going to ask that question because somebody might think it's a stupid question? We need everybody to be thinking about how we do things better for our members every day. And if you're thinking you have a question, I can guarantee that others in this organization do as well. So make sure you're finding your voice. Make sure you're asking those questions. Scarecrow goes on to say, "For I consider brains far superior to money in every way." You may have noticed that if one has money without brains, he cannot use it to his advantage. But if one has brains without money, they will enable him to live comfortably the rest of his days. All right, so I'm not talking about our members here because some of those with money really can't balance their checkbook. But the reality is you need to think about knowledge is power. The knowledge that each one of you brings to this organization about how you do your job, about how you think about our members, about how you approach every challenge that we have, that's what we need more of. We need for you to bring your strengths to the forefront and not be afraid that you don't have the right brains, because that knowledge that you have, that experience that you have, is the power of elements. So the Scarecrow plays with his buddies, the Tin Man and the Lion. And the Tin Man wants that heart. And what he says is, I shall take the heart, for brains do not make one happy, and happiness is the best thing in the world. Tin Man goes on to really think about relationships and about people and caring. And that's the greatest part about Elements, is that's what you guys do each and every day. Every person in this organization is focused on doing the right things for our members for the right reasons. Let's now move on to the Cowardly Lion. He had all kinds of issues going on. I did find one fact, that lion suit that he had on weighed 100 pounds. Maybe that was why he was a little grouchy and a little unsure of himself as he moved through the movie. But he always made comments like this: I have always thought myself very big and terrible. Yet such small things as flowers came near to killing me. And such small animals as mice may have saved my life. How strange it all is. So think about this. We all have preconceived ideas of who we are, of what makes us who we are, of also maybe jumping to conclusions or early conclusions about others because of that first perception that we have. I think the lion can show us that you need to be open to all things and to really think about what may make other people interesting or different may also help make you strong. How can you utilize the strengths that they bring, as well as the strengths that you bring to the table, to ultimately move Elements forward in serving our members? One of the things that the wizard said ultimately to the Cowardly Lion at the end of the movie was, there is no living thing that is not afraid when it faces danger. The true courage is in facing danger when you are afraid. And that kind of courage you have in plenty. Now, fortunately, here at Elements, we don't have a lot of true danger, but we have a lot of change. And if you think about that, to some people, that's a frightening experience. What we need for you to think about is, how can I face that? If not alone, with those friends that you have out there, with the Scarecrow and the Tin Man, and how do we work together, again, to move this forward? So think about that. Who would you pick to fight off those scary flying monkeys? Who would be your partners as you move forward in facing the changes and the challenges that we have here at Elements each and every day? If you think about those three and then you tie it back to Dorothy, what was she dreaming about? What did she want? She was always looking for something better, for that place over the rainbow. But ultimately, with the power of her friends, she was able to realize there is no place like Elements.